So guys, another day, another bike ride. It's Saturday the 11th of November and I thought I'd go out for a bit of a ride on the Super Meteor, do some contemplating on what day this is, a day we should remember all our fallen family, friends and heroes. And it's unusually warm still for mid-November here in southern Spain. So still good biking weather. There's a bit of a breeze. I would say it's probably about 18-20 degrees at the moment. Showing a high of 24 today with sunshine. It's slightly cloudy, as you can see in the sky behind me. There's a few little fluffy clouds around. Tomorrow it's going up to 25, and then later in the week here in Murcia in southern Spain, it's going to 27 and 28 midweek. So really warm for mid-autumn or mid-autumnal weather. So I'll take the Royal Enfield out and I'll talk about the Milan bike show and my opinions and what I think of what we've seen there. Some interesting things coming, very interesting with the new Himalayan, and CF Moto is quite high on the radar, and I'll talk about that as well, with the competition with a MT450 against the Himalayan, and see what we think will be best value for money and what will be the best overall touring bike for a low capacity engine bike. So I'll take you on a journey with me. I'll set up the Insta360 and we'll have a bit of a chat, and I'll do a bit of filming. So follow me on the journey, guys. So guys, there she is, the Super Meteor in Interstellar Green. I'll just take the covers off both bikes because we're going out on the V-Strom later on. So I tool around local market, do a bit of shopping, and have a trip out with the wife. And what I'll do on this short ride, I'll give you my opinions. And what I'm going to talk about is the new bikes that are coming out, the new smaller capacity bikes. Now, don't get me wrong, the V-Strom is a fantastic bike. I love the bike. But the V-Strom loaded up with the luggage on the back, fully loaded with petrol in it, gasoline. It's a heavy lump of a bike. It's nowhere near as heavy as the Super Meteor, don't get me wrong, but it is a heavy bike. By a heavy bike, I mean heavy when you're riding it and you want to have a bit more confidence. Don't get me wrong, I'm totally confident on the bike. I love the bike. It's got plenty of go in it. It gets up and goes great. But I can't do on the V-Strom what I could do on the Royal Enfield Himalayan. And I'll go a bit more into depth on that as we start rolling. And there's a bit of a conundrum between a lot of riders, weight over capability of the bike to do trails and adventure riding in a bit of gravel and off-road, etc. Especially with a pillion on the back, where you want a bit more security and a bit more sure-footedness on the ground. So I'll talk about that a bit more as we get going. So I'll leave this here on the camera that I'm on, and I'll get the 360 set up on the Super Meteor, and we'll take it on a ride. I've got a microphone in the helmet that's linked to my iPhone, and I've got the 360 camera enabled on the end of the Insta360 extension pole, so we'll just have to see if we get anything working out on this. So we'll give it a whirl. I don't know the position of the microphone, whether it will pick up anything on the anything of the exhaust note, but we can try it and we can see. So here we go, guys. Off on a tour around the local campo area. Like I say, we've got the Insta360 filming. I've got microphone clipped on, and hopefully we should get some decent footage, and we can see what turns out. Bike show from EICMA in Milan. The big reveal on the Royal Enfield Himalayan. We're seeing a lot more information on the Himalayan now. We're seeing test rides and people telling us what it's like. Not quite as talky on the low end as the original Himalayan, but seems to have a lot more on the higher end. It seems a really nice bike. I've seen each boot's doing 140 kph on it, and there's various comments being bantered around that it'll do 150, 160 quite easily. My concern, I mean, I would pull the trigger and probably get one, not as a replacement for the V-Strom, I don't think at the moment, although I would ideally look for a replacement for the V-Strom, because as I was saying earlier when I was filming on the other camera, the ideal situation we're looking for is something that's below 200 kilos wet weight, that's more manageable, and you can take or go anywhere, pretty much like the old Himalayan. The fault of the old Himalayan, or where it fell short, was the fact that you couldn't go too up, you couldn't have a pillion on and have safe overtakes. It's far too low powered. It was a superb bike if you're doing what I'm doing now, just tooling around these country lanes. No rush, not going fast anywhere, just enjoying the scenery, etc. But anything else, if you wanted to go on a bit of a loaded adventure with a pillion on the back, it just wasn't up to the job. So looking at that, I would think that most people, if they bought the new Himalayan, it would be up to purpose, the Himalayan 452. I think it would be suitable for a lot of people who had misgivings on the 411 Himalayan. It certainly would be for me. But I'm just a bit concerned if I downgraded from the V-Strom, say for instance, if I put that in Part X or I sold that and I bought the new Himalayan, would it tick the boxes that does for me? So the V-Strom, we can go on full luggage, loaded up, and we can go on journeys super comfortable. It's a ride all day bike, plenty of power, plenty of top end. It'll cruise all day at 130, 140 kph, not a problem. Plenty of power there for overtake, even with a pillion on the back. So they're the concerns I do have. But what I do miss from my Himalayan 411, which to some extent this bike alleviates somewhat, certainly going around these little tootling single lane country roads where I can just take in the scenery and enjoy it. That part of it I can get from my Super Meteor, not a problem at all. What I was going to say is that I remember one time we did go on a bit of a mini adventure. It was about 80-90 kilometres away to a place called Les Tours, and when we were in the middle of the village in a place called Les Tours, there was a signpost saying Cascades, waterfalls, and it was about 2.5 kilometres outside the village. So I followed the signs with a pillion with my wife on the back. We were on the Himalayan, we had a bit of luggage. So I followed the signs for the waterfall, and the tarmac road ended, and you could see that everybody had parked their cars up there and they were walking another maybe 1.5 kilometres, just under 2 kilometres to this waterfall. Now that particular day was a really hot day, stiflingly hot, maybe touching 40 degrees, 105 Fahrenheit. So we decided to go as far as we could on the bike, and it was great because the Himalayan took us all the way to the waterfall, down a single track, down a walking track later on, and we were passing people that were actually destroyed with the heat who were walking down to get to this waterfall to swim. And of course then once you swim at the waterfall, you've got to walk back again. Of course we just got straight on the bike, soaking wet. By the time we got to the end of the track we were dry. And it's little things like that where the Himalayan had the edge in certain categories that I do miss with the V-Strom. I certainly wouldn't take this V-Strom down the same track I took the Himalayan down. You can see the section again here, I'm going to bounce around a bit, and that's the pine tree roots going under the tarmac on the road. So another thing with the Milan bike show, another interesting bike that was there, and I talked previously while I was filming with the camera about the MT800, and I'll talk about that in a minute. The MT450. The MT450 by CF Moto. Again, the whole range and their lineup, they're so comprehensive. They're doing what the Japanese did with the car industry and the bike industry back in the 70s, and introducing fully loaded, fully featured vehicles, cars and motorbikes that we just didn't have before. And CF Moto, although they're a Chinese company, I mean the Japanese were the same back then. We really didn't want Japanese in Europe with our bikes. We had our British bikes and American bikes, etc. I think they're going to go down the same route. They're offering real value for money
for what you're actually buying. And the CF Moto 450 MT looks to tick an awful lot of the boxes that the Himalayan's ticking, with the addition that you get an awful lot of extras on there, a lot of, you know, crash bars, bash plates, spoked tubeless tyres. There's a plethora of things at full TFT display, really integrating a lot of things in there. Now, what struck me about MT450, I'd looked at a couple of videos on YouTube of guys riding the 450 version, the sports version of the same bike. So okay, it's not an adventure bike, but it's the same engine. It's going to be tuned differently on an adventure bike. Obviously, it's not going to be the same tune on an adventure bike. But there's a guy taking the sports version using the same parallel twin 270-degree firing order down a road. I don't know what country he's in, but he's in 5th gear and he's doing 190 kph and he's got a gear left. So I'm not saying he would go any faster in 6th gear. 6th gear being probably an overdrive gear, but I would imagine he's going to be touching 200 kph on that. Now, whether that's actual miles, kilometers per hour as with regards to GPS readings, or it's, you know, way over, I don't know, but it certainly begs the question. If it's got 47 brake horsepower out of a 450, and in the sports version outside of Europe and outside of countries that are trying to keep it on the A2 license, they're claiming over 50 brake horsepower for this 450 parallel twin engine. So it makes you think. I mean, the ground clearance is the same. It's got, you know, J1 brakes on, which are a part of a well-known subsidiary. Excuse me, guys. Yeah, the whole package seems very good. Same again with the 800 MT and the Adventure model and the Explorer model, I should say, not Explorer, Explorer. The stuff that's included on that in Europe for 12 grand is insane. I mean, it's got an 8-inch full TFT display with CarPlay, Android Play, all the features on there. It's got heated grips, heated seats, cruise control, riding modes, absolutely stunning. It's got Michelin tyres on it. For the price point of, I'm not saying it's in the same category in the same league as a BMW, a GS 1200 or 1250 or 1300, but for a third of the price of a GS with all that kit on it, it's fantastic value. The only problem I've got here in Europe, especially in Spain, with the CF Moto brand is I inquired to buy one in late summer this year, and I was, before I knew the Explorer version came out, you had the MT Touring and the MT Sport, and the Touring was the one everybody was talking about because it had the features. It had the 790 KTM engine in, so people were quite excited about that. But the problem we have here in Spain, there are no dealerships that actually sell these particular CF Motos as an official supplier. So a place that would service them, supply them as the CF Moto logo over the door, there's not many places in Spain, and certainly where I'm in Murcia, there are a few places that are official agents for CF Moto, but when you look on Google and you go to these places, they're actually apparel shops that are selling helmets and jackets and gear. And of course they will get you one in, they'll register it and do all the paperwork for you, but they haven't got a workshop or any facilities to do anything with the bike. And certainly if you ask the question, look, well, I've got a bike I want to part X against your 12 grand bike, my bike's worth 7, 8 grand or whatever, they're just not interested in any way. And what they tell you is basically is they sell bikes, but they're not a dealership, so they don't take bikes part X. So the whole thing with CF Moto, where it could be storming through Europe and really making big inroads, the problem they've got is the dealership or the supply line in Spain especially. I've noticed in Australia when I've looked at CF Moto videos, they seem to have a much better network there, and I would think there are dedicated garages under license to CF Moto there. So guys, I don't know what you think about the CF Moto 450 MT. I'm certain that's one that's going to be head to head with the Himalayan. I really like what I'm seeing with the Himalayan, but the only thing is, if I was to pull a trigger and pre-order one and get it, and then get it as a replacement for the Suzuki V-Strom, would I be disappointed if I was riding 2 up? Or would I manage 2 up? Would it be just sufficient enough? I mean, on the V-Strom I rarely go over 130 kph, 120 cruising on the motorway. And the V-Strom, although it red lines at 8,000 revs, at 5,000 revs, with it being a 90-degree V-twin, it sounds quite revvy when you're on it. You feel like you're pushing it, although you're not. You know, it's designed to rev, and it sounds revvy. So I don't know really. It's a big quandary. I really liked how the Himalayan 411 made me feel when I got on it. It's the same as the super meter I'm on now. Get on the super meter, I'm talking to you guys. I'm not even really thinking about riding. Of course, I'm watching what I'm doing. I'm keeping an eye on the road, etc. But I'm totally at ease and totally comfortable, even tootling. Like I'm not going fast anywhere. I'm not shooting around the country lanes. Although it will scoot along quite well, this bike, I'm just taking it easy and chatting away and having my thoughts with it. So, yeah, 2 main contenders that I would think of looking at maybe in the new year when we get them here in Spain. Certainly try and have a test ride on the CFMoto MT 450, and I'll definitely be riding the new Royal Enfield 452. But yeah, I'm looking at what I've seen, what I'm doing now where I live, it would be ideal. It's just when I go further afield and I have to hit motorways or highways or whatever, then we're looking at a few problems with power, overtaking, especially 2 up going on a long journey. So guys, I'll wind this up and leave my thoughts with you. Give me your thoughts on it. What do you think at the moment? Are you going to pull a trigger and buy one of these Himalayan 452s? I watched a couple of guys doing a review of it. I think it was last night. A couple of Indian guys. And one rode a Tiger 1200. The other one was riding GS, maybe a 1250 or a 1200. And they both said they'd buy one. And the guy who was riding the Triumph Tiger 1200, actually, you put a video of him commuting on it and going to work on it, and then towards the end of his ride he said, right, this is going to be my next bike. I'm going to buy the Himalayan 452 and I'm going to sell the Triumph 1200, which I thought was amazing really. And his main reason for that was it was so enjoyable to ride, commuting, off-road. He was saying that off-road on the Himalayan 452 on rough trails, he could certainly go along at 70 kph, 80 kph without any bother. Where if he was on his 1200 Triumph, he'd be going along the same road as, you can see how bad this road is, he'd be going along on his